gotten so many messages on TikTok and Instagram from 14 to 15-year-olds, some 17-year-olds that say, man, I don't know how to get a job. Can you please help me? I've tried, but maybe I'm just not taking the proper steps to get a job because I haven't landed one. And so instead of replying to all of those, because that would take forever, I thought I would just create a video and give some steps that we've taken as parents, and then what steps our children have taken to land them all in jobs successfully at a pretty young age. Before I do that, I want to make mention that getting a job and the steps needed to get a job aren't something that we're just born with. They certainly have to be taught, or we learn the hard way later on in life as adults, but they certainly have to be taught. Just like algebra is taught to us, just like we teach our kids how to ride a bike, we teach our kids a foreign language, we teach them how to walk, we teach them how to talk, we teach them ABCs, we teach them how to read. We teach our children all of these things. Part of being a parent is teaching our children how to go about getting a job the most effective way, and all the steps that they need to take to land them the job that they want, right? They are not dealt a hand where they automatically know how to speak with managers, who to follow up with, how often to follow up with them, what their body language and eye contact and all that stuff should be. They are not born with that ability. And so it is our job as parents to teach them that and to prep them going into all these scenarios of trying to get a job. So we prep them, we give them pep talks. We say, hey, these are the do's and the don'ts. Hey, look at me. This is what you need to look at when you're talking to a manager. This is what you need to do. You role play it out. People learn best by doing it themselves, but also by having a model to look at. And they say, oh, they've done this. I'm going to replicate that. And so I just wanted to make mention that's a necessity for our children. So most applications are now online. Very few are going to have a paper application that is actually in the store. Number 2, before we fill out an application online, we want to go in and talk with a manager prior to that. We want, when our child's name comes across the system, when the application gets pushed through, we want the manager to already know who we are. So on the way to this establishment, I am going to prep my child and tell him exactly what I'm going to be doing when I get into that store. And that I want him to follow my lead, watch what I'm doing, but also watch the manager's body language and reaction and all that stuff. I also prep them on how they should react behind me or beside me, wherever they are, while we're in there talking with the manager. So they need to have good posture. They need to be dressed appropriately. We're not wearing slides. We're not wearing sweatpants. We're not wearing any of that stuff. We're going to be dressed like we want a job. I'm going to be dressed like I want my child to get a job. They are going to have eye contact. So even though I'm talking, they are going to keep their eye on the manager. When the manager's talking, they're going to look at me when I'm talking. They are going to shake the manager's hand, even though I'm the one who's going to initiate the discussion. They are still going to go in and shake the manager's hand and introduce themselves. They are going to follow along with the flow of the conversation and make sure that they are right there on it. Their eyes are not going to be wandering around. They're not going to be fidgeting. So their body language is going to say that they are invested and they want a job there. Their handshake is going to be firm. We're not going to do these limp noodles, okay? No limp noodles, And then when the manager turns the conversation over to them, they're just going to speak with confidence. They're going to answer the questions honestly. They are going to maintain strong eye contact. They are not going to look down. They're not going to look up. They're not going to look at the left ear. They are going to look straight ahead. And they are going to address that manager by Mr. or Mrs., whatever's on the name tag. Now, what I do when I go in, so I tell my child what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what I do, but I've already prepped my child on everything I'm going to say and do when I go in. So I'm going to go into the customer service desk and I'm going to say, hi. I was wanting to see if I could speak with the hiring manager. Okay. Betty's like, yeah, sure. You can talk to Ted. Great. So Ted's a hiring manager? Yeah, Ted's a hiring manager for your age child. Perfect. Yeah. Can I speak with Ted then? Yeah, sure. Let me call him down. Great. Thank you so much. Stand off to the side. Okay. I see Ted walking in my direction. I make sure we have some eye contact so he knows I'm the one that he's coming to speak with. I make sure Sheldon, if he's standing with me, is looking in that direction. And so we wait for him to approach us, and I introduce myself. I should go in, shake his hand. Hi, my name's Lexi. I'm Sheldon's mom. We are interested in him getting a job here. He's a great worker. Just wondering if you are hiring. Okay, Ted says, no, we're not hiring. Okay, that's okay. Is it okay that we still put an application? Sure, yeah, you can put an application. Great. So we're going to go home and put an application tonight. He's a great employee. He would be a great addition to the team. And then we thank him for his time and say we're going to go home and fill out an application. Now, if he's like, we're always hiring. A lot of places are like, we're always accepting applications. Great, okay. We'll go home and get that application filled out. And then when would be a great time to come back in and just check the status of that application and see if you had seen it or not? And they generally say, next week or 2 weeks from now. Okay, well, I'll mark my calendar and we'll be back in then. And then we shake hands and say thank you for your time, and we leave.